Is that me? What? Okay, these those people.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome in, welcome in. So glad to have y'all here. If you're here, type into the chat. I'm gonna put a check-in question. Hello, welcome in. Alrighty, so hello everyone. If you don't know me already, my name is Amina. I am here doing a question and answer. Ask me anything. Um, Basically, as a like for expat, just creating space where y'all can come in, ask any questions you have about my journey, any questions you have about living abroad, or the things that come with it. So, I do have some questions that were submitted before the live that we'll get into. But if you have any more, please feel free to comment those, and we can get into those. Waiting for people to come on in. Super excited to be here. Alrighty, so let's just get into it. So I did post on my Instagram. If you're not already, you can follow me on Instagram, Aminas_adventures. Um, and there I asked people, hey, you have questions about moving abroad. So let's get into some. The first one I had was about medical care and health insurance, which is a pretty broad question, but um, I think that it's important. So depending on what you're trying to do. So for me, I have digital nomad insurance. Actually, if you guys look in the description box, I put there a link to the insurance I use. I use Safety, which is a digital nomad insurance, which basically is really great because you can use it on a monthly basis. So say you like, okay, I'm going to leave for like 2 months. It's $40, and you can renew it as much as you want. You can cancel it anytime, which I think is really helpful for when you are on Miguel Circle Time. Hello, Circle Time Publishing. How are you? Welcome in. Glad you're here. Let me know if you have any questions. Make sure you put them down below. I'm currently in Oaxaca, y'all. I'm actually at a restaurant having something to eat. Um, so super on the go on this live today. Usually I'm like at home or something like that. um, I shouldn't have took that better food. But anyway, so with that being said, circling, you look great. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Let me know the check-in question. If you could live anywhere in the world rent free, where would you live? Let me know, okay? So yeah, so medical insurance, definitely recommend taking. You can find that link right down there in the description box. There's an affiliate link, full transparency, so if you do use it, it will help support the channel and me. With that being said, I think someone said that when they talked about insurance and medical care, it's such a broad question because I do have a video on medical care when I was in Ecuador, but I think I've had, for the most part, very positive experiences with medical care. I think it's very different because I know when I was in the States, I kind of sometimes dreaded going to the doctor just because I wouldn't feel like I was being listened to. But I feel like now the struggle I deal with is sometimes the language barrier, and I think that there's different access to healthcare depending on where you go. So I think those have been the two main things. So I would suggest if you are moving abroad, it is best to have some type of insurance. So if you do safety wing is a great choice, or if you want to do something else, that's also um, possible. And also, healthcare and medical care is a lot cheaper everywhere I've gone in Latin America as well. Alrighty, so the next question I have was submitted by Marie Locks, and she said, how do you deal with being lonely abroad? I think this is a very valid question. I think that at its core, if you are solo traveling, by its definition, you are solo. So, but I also try to remind people just because you go abroad solo doesn't mean you have to stay solo. I think some of my favorite parts of being abroad is that I've met people along the way, or either that I travel with, or either you travel with them for a few days, a few weeks, whatever the case may be. But the loneliness does come, especially I think during the holiday season. I think it's a little bit more if you're not going back home to visit family. I think the way I do it is I try to maintain and establish connections with my friends and people back in the States as much as I can. Um, so, like, if it's like home that I'm missing, reaching out to different family or different friends that I have that are like family, just kind of to help navigate those situations. And also creating community when I'm abroad, meeting new people, kind of putting myself out there to talk to people, because I think I've had so many situations where I've just met people and it kind of took me in just like family, and I think it's a really beautiful experience. So happy to watch you live. I'm happy you're here. I don't know how to pronounce your name, Jagaleo. Jagaleo. Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm super glad you're here. Original Ray, you said Greece or Europe. I think that's a good choice. Um, but staying in Europe rent free, I think, would be a really good saving of money. So yeah, I would just say building community, and also staying connected to your community or your family back abroad, I think are two instrumental pieces to kind of helping with that loneliness. And I think the other piece is just realizing that at its core, it's gonna come. I feel like I've been lonely when I was in the States at times, so I think it's normal and it's okay to feel those things and reach out for support however you can. So that's my suggestion for loneliness abroad. All right, so the next one we have is about dating, which is actually quite broad as well. Um, with this one, I feel like it depends. I mean, I feel like as a queer person, I feel like since I've been abroad, I think dating has changed it's been different every place that I go. For example, when I was in Ecuador, there's certain parts where like people are not very out, like, and I think that's another thing to realize is that leaving your house when you turn 18 is very much a US, your Western concept. It's very normal for people to still live with their parents after they turn 18, 20, whatever. So I think the essence of like being out and stuff like that, when it comes to family, especially if you're in a country that's more has more conservative values, can be difficult. I think for me overall, dating has been interesting. It's I think it's a cool experience because I feel like since I am abroad, I'm able to, and I hope the music's not too loud, y'all. Since I'm abroad, I'm able to approach it in a very open way, because I can either be like, okay, I'm meeting someone, but even if it doesn't work out, like as far as dating, it's like I can still meet a new friend, make a new friend, and have another contact for when I go back to that country. It's like, oh, like I'm in this country, or where do you suggest to eat, or where do you suggest this? And I think that information is invaluable. But dating can be, I feel like dating within itself is a whole thing. Cultural norms as well come into play with that too. Sometimes just cultural differences, I think, can make certain stuff make things a little bit more um, stifled depending on the situation. I'll speak on one experience, like time. When I first moved to Ecuador, I was really weirded out when people would set a time and then people show up late, and I'm just like, to me in the U.S., if you show up late to something, it's almost seen as disrespectful. But it's like time isn't deemed that highly in Latin America. It's like, kind of no pasa nada, kind of get there when you get there. So when you're dating someone and like you're like, okay, we're gonna meet at 3:30, and they show up at like 3:45, 4 o'clock, you're like, well, this is disrespectful. Like, why would you do that? Why didn't you text me? Whatever. And like, to them, it's like, I don't get why you're upset. Like, it's no big deal. It's just 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Or it's almost like they expect you to be late too, which I think is interesting too. It's like, so I've also learned to not show up on time to a lot of things as well, because I think that can sometimes make it a little better, because you know that everyone's going to be late. So there's that. And like I said, if y'all have any questions, these are all questions that I got from Instagram. People ask me, I put a post on my Instagram, which is at Mina's Adventures. Um, so yeah, you can submit questions there. You can submit questions here. Also, feel free to um, let me know if you have any in the comments below. Also, if you'd like to support the channel at any time, feel free. You can also support using super chats. Where are you? So I currently am in Oaxaca, Mexico. So um, I'm here, and it's actually coming up soon, the next couple of days, Dia de los Muertos, which I'm really excited to be able to celebrate that here because the culture here is so rich and beautiful. So I'm really excited to see about how it's celebrated here and just um, how all that works. So that's where I am. That is where I am currently.
¿En botella o cómo? ¿Cómo sea?
So the next question I have
Gracias.
is okay. So let's see. Original Ray, how did you just get the courage to get up and go? I clearly want to at some point, but I know fear will hold me back. I think that is an amazing question. It's a very valid question. I tell people all the time that my journey was very much intuitive. I kind of just had like my intuition, like something just told me to get out, get out, get out, get out. And I think it got to a point where that voice was so loud that I'm like, I think it's two parts. Number one, I think it was sitting down and figuring out, okay, what are all my fears? What are the things that I'm really afraid of that will come about this journey going abroad? I sat down with those fears. I sat down with it, and I almost made a list, kind of. And I was just like, okay, if this happened, what would I do? I could be so transparent to y'all. My biggest fear is I'll wind up going abroad. I'll be homeless. Like all my cards and my credit cards, everything was stolen. I had no way to get back home. I had no money, no resources, nothing. And also, I think it's important for us to realize that we're all competent people. So, like, we have skills, we have the ability to navigate situations, even if they are bad. Sometimes it's possible to navigate it. So, I would say the courage came from me trusting in my intuition, trusting that I know that this isn't. I know at its core, I don't know like how this is going to work, but I had to trust my intuition so much that I knew somehow it was going to work out. And I think that was the biggest thing. I feel like I didn't have the courage in like whatever circumstances. I just had courage and the trust that the situation would work out for the best. So I definitely want to implore you to, if you're having that feeling, if something that I've recently heard is if you're questioning it, then it's possibly true. Like if you're thinking, oh, should I leave or whatever, then possibly it may be important for you to leave. Maybe that is what your journey should be. So I think it's something to definitely consider. All right, let's look at these check-in questions. So we have
Gracias.
Greece and Europe. I've never been to Europe yet. I mean, definitely it's on my list, the places to go. I mean, we have to go to Europe, but I'm in there. Malaysia. I heard Malaysia is very, very, very beautiful. Definitely, I hope my middle of next year to be in Southeast Asia. And when I'm there, I want to go. I want to go back to Thailand, of course. I want to go to Vietnam, everywhere. So, yeah. Um, could you imagine doing a factory job in Europe or America for $2,000? I'm not really sure what you mean by this question. I don't think I don't think so. I mean, $2,000, what, a month, a year, a week? That's pretty broad. Okay, that's good because if you can truly trust yourself, you'll do whatever it takes to make things work. The feeling, the feeling is huge, but at the moment, I don't fully trust me. And I think that's the thing. And I'm really glad that you asked that, Original Ray, because I think it's like I feel like we have to realize like it's like a muscle. You're not originally like when I first had that feeling, I was like, what is this? Like, how does this like? I don't even know how to follow this or whatever. But I feel like the more you learn to trust it, like even if it's something small, like say you go to the store and something tells you, oh, like buy this apple instead of this apple, whatever the case may be, like something small like that by you exercising that muscle of like, okay, trusting it and seeing how it goes, then I feel like you build up like, oh, okay, like this voice is like it's with me. It has my most aligned path and interest. And I think that's the thing. It's not necessarily gonna just come like that. You're not gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna trust it. It takes work. And it is scary too. I won't say that it's not because I wasn't just getting on the plane like, oh, this is gonna be great. I was like, I'm scared shitless. How's this gonna work out? How's this gonna do? What is this gonna happen? Um, because also the part of that too is family. And if you don't have family that necessarily pushing you or supporting you to do it, not saying that my family wasn't supportive, but many of them did not want me to go. When you have that, it kind of makes you feel like, oh, like should I do it? And you want to listen to them, and then also you have voices, not voices in your head, but you have voices like coming up saying, oh, maybe I shouldn't do it, and you're looking at media and all these different things like will tell you otherwise. But I think that being able to like tone into that voice is really important. So it's definitely not easy, but I feel like you can do it. I believe in you. All right. I mean, $2,000 a month in a factory. Um, I don't know if I'm being honest. I mean, it depends on what kind of factory it is. I mean, I don't think I see myself working in a factory. I mean, if I had to, I definitely have taken jobs when I was in college I didn't necessarily want to take, but you do what you gotta do to make money sometimes. But I'm hoping that now in my life that I can mostly just do other forms of work until um, YouTube grows even more. Thank you for that question. Okay. How do you know where do you want to travel to next? Do you research more places or have you always had a list? That is a really great question. Um, So the funny thing is I feel like I never plan ahead. Like for example, I think every place I've been to, if someone would have asked me like, oh, you're gonna be in this place 2 or 3 weeks later, I'd be like, what? Like if someone told me you're gonna be in Mexico right now, I'd be like, what? Because before here I was in Costa Rica. So I guess to quickly go over it, when I was in Ecuador, basically I had to make a decision: do I want to stay there or really invest into getting a long-term residency visa? And I had to be honest with myself that I wasn't ready to settle in one place. I didn't want to stay in Ecuador. So then I was like, okay, where do I want to go? And it was pretty cheap to get to Colombia. I've heard beautiful things about Colombia, so that's why I went to Colombia. When I was in Colombia, as many of y'all have been following me or subscribed for at least a few months, when I was in Colombia, I got held in gunpoint when I was in Cali, which was a very scary experience. And so after that happened, I kind of, despite leaving Cali, I just wasn't feeling the best in Colombia in general. So I knew I was like, okay, let me leave the country and kind of build up that sense of safety. I would say more than anything else, that sense that you are safe, that sense that you can figure things out is, I think, one of the most important things when you're living abroad. Because if you don't have that sense of safety, then that's going to impact all your moves and you're not going to be moving in a good way. So I told myself, that's my number one priority. So that's why I went to Peru. I heard it's a very safe place, very nice. So that's why I went to Peru. From Peru, I went to Costa Rica, which basically was an opportunity. A lady that I met on a Black Healing Space basically was like, oh, if you're ever in Costa Rica, feel free to come here, which is a wild story within itself. But I wound up going there, and Costa Rica is so beautiful. And then from Costa Rica to here, I originally was going to go back to Colombia, and I kind of realized that I was going for the wrong reasons, and I didn't want to go there right now. So I decided to go to Mexico, low cost of living. I think pretty much every person I've traveled with or known since my travels has talked about Mexico in some capacity. People say it's like, oh my God, I love Mexico. And also I met some people and made some friends on my journey that are down with Mexico as well. So that kind of helped that. So I guess to answer your question, I probably should research more. I think there's been times where, like when I went to Peru, I kind of was like within 2 days I made that decision. So don't be like me, y'all. Don't be like me. But I think that I definitely did extensive research for going to Ecuador. I had everything planned out, my housing secured. I had like connections made and everything like that. So I think it's important to plan. I think as you learn who you are as a traveler and learn how you travel, I think you'll kind of get a gauge of like what you're able to handle. Because I think what planning does is it just gives us more a feeling of stability of like, okay, I know when I get here I can do this and I do this and this and this. I've really been good. I've gone on a plane. I'm like, I'll research about how much it will cost. This is what I research every time I leave somewhere. I research how much around it costs from the airport if I'm flying into a place to whatever location. I try to get a good idea because number one, I don't want to get scammed, and number two, that helps me know how much cash I need to have before I leave the airport. And then I also always make sure I have my accommodations booked. and kind of have a general sense. I always search in Google before I go somewhere, things to know before going to blah 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 country or blah 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 city, because I think that usually gets articles and stuff like that that will tell you, oh, like for example, that's how I knew in Peru that the voltage in the outlets were higher because that's something was mentioned in one of the articles. So that's one thing. Okay, Matia. Girl, how long are you staying in Mexico? I'll be there in 2 weeks. I think I'll be here at least. I don't know if I'll be in Oaxaca. I don't know. I plan on being in Mexico for a while though, but it all depends on how things go these next few weeks. Um, so yeah, probably will be here. Feel free to DM me on Instagram. Maybe we can meet up or something. Um, Do you travel around with your boyfriend or husband? How long do you want to live a nomadic lifestyle? I hope I didn't upset you. No, you didn't upset me. So number one, I do not have. Well, I don't have a partner at all. I do not have a boyfriend or a husband. I travel solo. I definitely have met friends along the way, people I've traveled with and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm a solo traveler. The nomadic lifestyle. I think the way I see my life, at least for the next couple years, I think is kind of the balance between traveling a little bit and then staying in one place for a few months, because I don't like necessarily staying in one place for a long time. I also don't like to travel full time. I think it's exhausting and it's too much for me, and I've had to learn that about myself. So kind of like a mix of that. So I'm guessing like maybe like a month or so in one place, explore that place and go to the next place, whatever, things like that. Yeah. So do not have a partner. And I don't know how long I plan to live this life. Hopefully not. I mean, I think the nomadic lifestyle can be very liberating because it's like you can literally work from anywhere. So I think that's super cool. So yeah. Also, if y'all, like I said, if y'all would like to support the channel, feel free to um, support with super chats. I really greatly appreciate that. Yes, I will need to research because I like stability and need to reassure myself of safety. And that's completely valid. And I think, I'm going to assume your name is Ray. That's completely valid. And I think that's the piece I think people need to realize more than anything. There's not really a book to live by on how to travel or how to live abroad. I think the real core pieces that is important is knowing yourself and knowing what you need to feel safe. Knowing yourself, like when people talk about how much money does it cost to live abroad. I've heard stories of people leaving to move out of the country with nothing but $100. I've heard stories of people leaving with hundreds of thousands of dollars. But it depends on your lifestyle. What do you need? What do you don't need? What type of accommodations do you like to stay in? Where do you plan on going? What is the cost of living? That insight of like yourself, I think, is the most important part. That's really going to make the difference. So, if you need that research, you need that stability, that reassurance. That's 100% valid. So, um, tap into any resources you need. Also, you can check out the description box. I I wish this was around when I was living abroad, but you can sign up for 30-day blaxit, which is a program by Amber C. Edwards, who is amazing, and she actually specifically helps Black women. I think she just opened it up for Black men as well, and she literally takes you step by step. She supports you through the whole process of moving abroad. She helps you figure out where you want to go. She helps you figure out your plan. She helps you with everything. So if you are interested in that link is in my description box, and you can definitely reach out to her. Let her know Amina sent you, and I think if if I was moving abroad, I mean, I'm glad I did it the way I did it because I think that's just my adventurous nature. But for someone that kind of wants more structure and stability, I would definitely recommend it. She's very sweet. She's very helpful. She's very knowledgeable about this stuff. So I definitely would suggest that. Bantu Viking. Hello, Bantu Viking. Welcome in. Hello. So y'all tell me down below in the comments, where's everyone tapping in from? Where is everyone? Where are we all at in this big globe? I am currently in Oaxaca, Mexico, like I said. Also feel free to answer the question. If you live anywhere in the world, rent free. No need to pay for housing. Where would you live? I think that's a pretty dope question. So yeah. What else? Oh, so let me see. I have some more questions. Vikey's in Florida. Ooh, I've only been to Florida once, and that was when I flew to Ecuador, and it was only for layover. Okay, so the next question I have is, how did you prepare to move abroad before you did? Research, language learning, paperwork. Um, so for me, I think my main two things was making sure that I had accommodation, so I had my housing. Uh, I have not yet, but I can go over that in just a second. Um, so I researched, about the place. I looked up cost of living. I think for me, my biggest thing were when I was trying to research places and stuff like that was figuring out. I lost my train of thought. Research, language learning, paperwork. I lost my train of thought, y'all. Anyway, so yeah, before I went to Ecuador, I did a lot of research. I think I did a lot of research that because it was my first place I was going, and also I feel like I kind of also had to overly research just to give my family and the people that care about me some type of ease, because I'm like, where are you going? Why are you going there? And I'm just like, okay, look, I have everything listed out, I have everything planned out. It's okay, like it's all right. Um, Language learning. So for me personally, I've learned Spanish. I'm not fluent in Spanish. Um, Not by any means. I'm conversational. I can get around. I can talk to people. I can get food. I can go to doctors. I've gone to the doctors and stuff like that. So I have a pretty, I think, good grasp on the language. I think for me to really have a great handle on it, I would need to take classes, which I hope to do once I have the funds to do that. So I think that can be really helpful. But I've literally just learned Spanish from talking to people, which can be very uncomfortable, which can be very overwhelming as well. But I think you not only learn the language, but you also learn the nuances. I feel like my Spanish is very mixed. Some people say when I speak Spanish, I sound like Colombian, and some people say like, oh, you sound like your Spanish comes from like the coast. Which I lived on the coast in Ecuador. I also learned a good amount of Spanish when I was in Colombia. So I definitely recommend that. I think if y'all are interested, let me know in the comments if you're interested about language. I will have more videos about that coming soon. And paperwork, all the places I've gone to, I've not um, done like official like visa paperwork or anything like that, just because I haven't stayed anywhere that a tourist visa or a tourist visa extension wasn't sufficient to maintain good standing, good immigration status in that country. So there's that. Also, make sure y'all like this if you are here. All right, so let's see. Have you gone over the cost of living? Cost of living of where? Let me know which place of cost of living you are wondering about. Thank you. Let me know. Yes, thank you guys for all those likes. Thank you all so much. Okay, so let's keep going. So this next question, and Bantu Bag, I'll get to your question as soon as you let me know where is cost of living. So I have, you still pay American taxes. I've heard American expats pay taxes twice. So for me, that situation is actually quite unique. I haven't yet I filed my taxes like I usually do every other year this past year, but that's because over 90% of the year I was still in the US, which was last year. So my taxes, I won't have to navigate that whole situation until this upcoming tax season. So maybe I can make a video about that. I'm hoping it's not going to be too painful. I recently got an LLC for Minis Adventures, so I'm going to have to file my own personal taxes to put the schedule through with that. But I think overall taxes can be a scary thing, but I think it's, I don't know yet. So I guess we will see how that works. Let's see what else we got. Trust you're not missing anything here. Oh, in the US. Yeah, I miss my family. I definitely miss, my friends and family back in the States, but I definitely am glad also I'm out here, not in the States. Okay. Do you have any other socials besides Insta? I'd like to reach out, but I don't have an Instagram. Um, Right. If you reach out to me, my email is in. It should be in the bio, the description of the description of this live, as well as it's in my about page. Reach out to me via email. We can chat further. I don't post my WhatsApp, but for certain situations, I can send you my WhatsApp and we can chat from there. or we can connect via Messenger and figure something out. But no worries. Hey from CDMX. Hello from Mexico City. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in. Expat Inc. Hello, Shar. Also, I want to plug a really great platform really quick. If you're a Black expat in here, I need y'all to know right now. I need you to go to your app store after you leave this live. Don't leave right now. But need to download the Expat app. It is the app for connecting Black expats around the world. It's a great directory, so you can find all you need to know for pretty much every country in the world. So definitely tap into Expat app, the Expat app. I'm gonna type it in chat. By Expat, you need to have that app on your phone. Period. Okay, I know for myself, I'm moving to Southeast Asia. Beautiful. Southeast Asia. What about where you live? What about where you live have lived in the last 6 months, if it has been that long? I don't understand your question. I'm sorry. Um, I don't understand your question. I'm sorry. Let me know what you need. So I've been abroad for over a year. I've lived in Ecuador, Colombia, Peru, Costa Rica, Mexico, and before this, I was in a cost of living. The cost of living. I think the most, I guess, to put it in perspective, the most expensive place I've lived in was Costa Rica. That place was pretty expensive. Some of the lowest I think has been it's been Colombia, and then I think so. I put Costa Rica here. Colombia is at the bottom for the least amount of cost of living. I maybe put under Costa Rica, Ecuador, and then I would put Peru and Mexico also is a pretty low cost of living as well, which is really great. What has been the most surprising part of this journey that you wish people knew? Wow. Um, I wish people knew how. I don't want to say how difficult it is because I don't mean it in a sense of like it's not possible. I wish more people realize like it's a beautiful lifestyle, it's a beautiful journey, but it's not easy. And I feel like you need to be not built for it, but you need to have you have to have your mentality set up. For me personally, like I think financial has been a barrier for me because you know I decided when I started this journey I'm going to bet on myself, and I think that means sometimes betting on even if you don't know things are going to work out. And I think with that, starting this YouTube channel, doing freelance work and stuff like that, there's times I'm like, how is this going to work out, whatever. And so you have to realize like all the little problems sometimes feel like bigger because you're outside of your comfort zone. When you're living abroad, I think you grow so much because you're continuously out of your comfort zone. Like if I'm living in the States or whatever, I lose my wallet, that's one thing. But like losing your wallet somewhere, I haven't lost my wallet, really knock on wood. Losing your wallet in another country, you have a different language barrier, you have like different, like you don't know the directions, all these different things. These are really things that I think can really be overwhelming. So I think it's important to realize that sometimes it's not that simple. Sometimes it's I think that some people would be surprised with how much you grow with learning how to navigate into those situations. Thank y'all for coming in. I see we got some new people. Make sure y'all like this live if you're enjoying it. Also, like to support the channel, feel free to donate on using super chats down below. So yeah, I hope that answered your question, Bantu Viking, about cost of living. If you want more specifics, definitely you can look up. I have a cost of living video on Monte, Ecuador, which is pretty extensive. Um, and other places, I would say Colombia is the cheapest, and from there, everything else kind of ranges in the middle. Costa Rica is really expensive to me. Okay, do you think being so young makes it more challenging? Um, I think being young has its pros and cons because in some ways I feel like I have more life and adventure. I feel like the way I see things, I see it sometimes through the lens of being young because I'm like, I have my whole life to live. Like, why not take the leap? Why not do this? Why not do that? which I think is important because I think that is what has put me in great situations. But also, I think it's difficult because sometimes it's hard to find community. And then when I mean community, I found community a lot, local community, but like expat community sometimes because I think sometimes people. I mean, I think it's valid, not valid, but I think sometimes people um, underplay someone because of their age. I think people think that because I'm young, like, oh, like, what does she know, whatever. But I think I have to remind myself, I'm 24 and doing this. There's people that are doing this that are in their 40s, 50s, whatever. Like, and I mean, they're way more ahead of me. But at the same time, it's like that's valid because it's like, I mean, I came out of here from college. These people have like experiences like down the wazoo that I will not probably never have, but I don't have. So I think that's valid too. Uh, Thank you, no problem. Hello, my friend. Hello, Roberto. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? Um, I just wanted an idea of the cost of living. Good luck on your journey. No, I think that's very valid. I think that feel free if you want. You can email me. We can set up a consultation. I can help you navigate the cost of living. I'm not really able to lay that all out right here on this live, but definitely willing and can help you if possible. Very proud of you. It's so brave to do this at your age. Thank you, Shar. I really appreciate that. If you create a space for the younger expats nomads, what would that look like? Um, I'm getting hit with the real questions. I feel like that space would look like it would be like I don't know what platform I would use if I'm being honest. Because I think that Plus, I think there's a difference because I think also it's important people to realize the difference between an expat and a traveler. I met tons of travelers on this journey, but not a lot of younger people like stay abroad. Like a lot of people like leave, they go out to travel for 1, 2, 3 months, like during vacation or whatever in between jobs. But like people that are like I'm doing this for the long run, it's like not as much. So I think it would look very like inclusive. I think I would very much make sure that people with marginalized identities, queer people, um, black people, brown people would be centered in that space because I think that it's even more difficult for us because not as many resources or not there's not as many people doing it because I think that was big for me. Part of the reason I made this platform was one because two of my friends, my friend Diana and my friend Damien, they both pushed me to make a YouTube channel, and I was like, nobody wants to know what I'm talking about, but obviously y'all do. Here we are. Um, but outside of that, it's like I realized that when I was looking at videos, a lot of the videos I was looking at, people didn't look like me. And at the time, I wasn't as open with my queerness, but they definitely weren't openly queer. So it's like, where do we find spaces where people that are not the that are not like white, wealthy, or you know, heterosexual, cisgender, all these different things. Where do we find those intersections of people that are of these other identities that are navigating these very nuanced issues and nuanced struggles? So I think that's important. So we're coming up on 40 minutes. So I'm going to probably take questions for another 2 minutes or so, y'all. So feel free to put them in the chat. We can get them done. Yes, there's a difference between expat. There's a big difference between expat and traveler. I think people don't realize that. Like, I call myself both an expat and traveler, but like never just one because there are instances where I feel like I'm living an expat life where I have an apartment, I'm staying in one place, I'm getting to know my community, I'm getting to know my surrounding areas. And there's other times when, like for example, when I was in Costa Rica before I left, I know I went to a couple different places and kind of traveled a bit. So that experience, like everything down to laundry, like when you're an expat, you have your laundry machine or you know where you get your laundry. Or when you're traveling, you're like, oh, where am I gonna get my laundry done? Or like these little things that don't seem big or like become big things. Also, make sure y'all hit that like button if you want to support the channel. Make sure you can support it via super chat. What is the best way we can support you and your platform? I mean, the best way is monetarily, but I've never gonna lie about that. So, but definitely, y'all like showing up to lives. If you have any capacity, you can check out the description box. I have there a link to my GoFundMe, which is helping me kind of during this time of between you know really trying to push and get my YouTube channel to where I think it can be, so that more people like y'all are here asking questions, and I can help others on their journey. Share my videos, comment, like, subscribe, all those beautiful things. Put on notifications, so every time I do post a video, you're notified about it. Honestly, like, go on one of my playlists if you have time. Sometimes just play in the background so I can get those, those views or whatever. It's much appreciated. All right, so I think this will be our last question. So, what's your main reasons to travel? I'm sure growth would be a major part. If so, what's been the best things you've learned, tried, or best ways you've grown? Original Red, you coming in with the good questions today. This is an amazing question. My main reasons, like you said, growth. I would say I think for me, moving abroad is just an understanding or wanting to solidify that there's more out there. Like, I don't have to live somewhere where I not able to get my needs met, my basic needs met. And I say that because I think we have to realize that I feel like in the States, you can work like a full time job. So people are working full time jobs and don't even have enough money to make sure they have food on their table. Or they're struggling to, if they, like, there's people that are working full time jobs that, like, if they break their arm or something, they're terrified because they know they don't have enough money for the copay or whatever. And I'm just like, there's no reason why we should be working this much to barely get our basic needs met. And I think that, so that wanting of seeing that there's more, there's a possibility for more, I think is big. Secondly, I like to push myself. I like to be outside of my comfort zone. I love to try new things, meet new people. Learning Spanish also has been a pretty interesting journey as well. So I think those things, and I think just a lust for adventure and life of just like, why not? Like, I'm young, like, it it just seems like a great opportunity to grow and learn new things, learn new cultures, learn about new foods, new places, new people, all these different things. I think it's a beautiful experience that I think genuinely will impact me for the rest of my life. So I think it's priceless. So I definitely think the best thing that I've learned or tried, I think the best thing I've learned is to bet on myself, to listen to my intuition, to trust my intuition. Even though, like, and there's times where it's like, I feel like they'll tell me to do something, I'm like, that don't make no sense. Like, who would think, like, oh yeah, get out the United States, leave the United States during a global pandemic, like, but I still trusted it. So I think that trust, also learning to, also I feel like building a better relationship with knowing when to let go. I feel like I've always been the person that kind of cling to things, and knowing that people sometimes in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And um, even the process of cutting my hair was a whole thing with me for about letting go. So thank you so much, Original Ray, Tashar, Bantu King, Roberto. Who else do we have in here? Jagalio, Matia, Circle Publishing, Circle Time Publishing. Thank you to all y'all. And if you haven't commented but you're here, thank you y'all. Please make sure to like this live if you enjoyed it. Make sure, if something I talked about, if you have someone that you know that is thinking about moving abroad and you want to help them, and I said something that's helpful, please make sure to share this with them. Share with everyone. Share with your mama, your sister, your brother, your cousin, your best friend. Share whatever. And yeah, make sure to check out the links below. You can check out 30 Day Blaxit. I'll also be adding the link, so if you're a Black expat, you can download the Expat app. You can do all things like that. So yeah, check out those links below. Also have the link to Safety Ring if you need to get some travel insurance by that's affiliate link, full disclosure on that. I prefer to support you through bank transfer. I don't know if that's possible. The link to my PayPal is in there. I think that's maybe the closest. But you can feel free to reach out to me. I definitely do appreciate the support, but I don't know how bank transfer would work. But I do appreciate that. And thank you so much. I'm glad it was insightful and helpful. I second that. Thank you all so much. I really do appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all like this, share it, all that good stuff. And I will see y'all next time. Thank y'all. Peace, y'all.